So, good morning, students. This is KG Misra with the new topic, okay, in the same chapter, that is electric charges and field for class 12th. Okay, we have done the Gauss theorem and its applications. Now, after that, it's turn for questions. Okay, so actually, Gauss theorem. Why we study Gauss theorem? No, this question strikes sometimes in our mind. Although we from the definition of flux we have got a formula to find the flux, then what is the need of this Gauss theorem? See, answer of this question is that no, this Gauss theorem has come to simplify the problems. Now the question arises in our mind, how it simplifies the problem. See, to see this, how it simplifies the problem, we have to use it to solve the problems. So for that, here are three questions I have written on the board. You can see the first question is that a charge q is placed at one face of a cube. Okay, what is the net flux through it? Through it means through the cube. Okay, so you have to find out the net flux through the cube. Okay, see, so question is that a charge is placed at one face of a cube. Okay, suppose this is a cube and this is the charge. You can see this black spot. This black spot I have made to represent the charge. So charge is placed at one of the face of this cube. No, now we have to take another cube in order to apply the Gauss theorem. Why? Because Gauss theorem is applicable only when the charge is completely enclosed. But see, it is not enclosed in this cube. It is just, see, outside this cube. Okay, so for that, what we have to do? We have to take another cube of same size. Okay, like this. And now when we are placing this side by side, what happens? This charge gets completely enclosed. You can see. Can you see the charge? See, can you see the charge? Can you see the charge? No. Where it is? It is here. So it has been enclosed. Now it has been enclosed, okay, by two cubes. Okay, so now according to Gauss theorem, what is the net flux through the two cubes? See, according to the Gauss theorem, the net flux through the two cubes will be phi is equals to q by epsilon naught. Okay, but this is the net flux through two cubes. Now what is the net flux through one cube? Obviously both are the similar cubes. So through one cube, what will be the flux? Okay, net flux through one cube equals to q by 2 epsilon naught. Q by 2 epsilon naught. Okay, so half of that. Got it? Through two cubes it is this much, through one cube it is half of that. Okay. Now the second question. A charge q is placed at one edge of a cube. What is the net flux through that cube? Now see, what is the meaning of edge? If you see the same cube, no, and this time charge is not placed here. Okay, I am going to cross it. It is not placed here. Okay, where it is placed? It is placed at one of the edge. You can see this edge. This is the edge. Okay, and here I am going to mark this charge. You can see this is the charge. It is placed at one edge. Okay, you can see this black mark. This is the charge present on the edge of this cube. Okay, now, okay. Now we have to find out the net flux through this cube due to this charge which is present at this edge. Now, as this charge is again not closed, okay, enclosed in this cube. So what we have to do? First we have to take the similar cubes to enclose this charge. Now I have placed this cube. See, this is the charge on the edge. Okay, I have taken the another cube. Still the charge is open from the top. Okay, so I have placed one cube over it. Okay, not over it. So then I am keeping here. You want it to be placed over here? Okay, no problem. I am keeping over here. Then also what you find? You can see the charge from here. This black spot appears. See, you can see this black spot appears, no, still from the top. It is appearing from the top? Yes, it is appearing, no. Now I have to place one more cube like this. Now is it appearing? You can see from all the sides. Okay, I have to place it again because it has fallen down. It happens sometimes, no? So it is not appearing. That means how many cubes we are utilizing to close this completely and close this? We are utilizing 4 cubes to completely enclose this charge. As we are utilizing 4 cubes, so according to the Gauss law, what is the net flux through the 4 cubes? It should be again phi is equals to q by epsilon naught. Now net flux through 1 cube will be how much? This time how many cubes were there? 4 cubes. So through 4 cubes it is q by epsilon naught. So through 1 cube how much? 1 by 4 epsilon naught. Okay, this is the answer of second one. Got it? Okay. Now the third question. A charge q is placed at one vertex of a cube. Okay, where charge is placed? At one vertex. You can see this is the vertex at which this charge is placed. You can see this black mark. So it is at one vertex of a cube. Okay. What we have to find out? What is the net flux through the cube? So through this cube, we have to find out the net flux. As we want to find out the net flux through this cube, first what we need to do? In order to apply the Gauss theorem, we need to cover this charge, okay, to enclose this charge. In order to enclose this charge, what we will be doing? First we have to place a cube here beside it, and then in front of this, but still you can see it from here. From here you can see it, the black spot. Is it visible? Okay, so I have to place a cube over here. I have placed 4 cubes. Still you can see from the top. You can see from the top, the black spot is visible. The charge is visible to you. Okay, so what I need to do? I have to place a cube over it. Still it is visible from a side. So again I have to place a cube over it. Okay, again it is visible. So I have to place a cube over it. Again you can see. So again I have to place a cube over it. What happened? Is it visible? Just a second. Once I place this cube here, is it visible to you now anymore? The charge is visible? No. So how many cubes we have utilized to enclose this? 4 down and 4 up. Total 8 cubes has been utilized to enclose the charge. You can see this. So how many cubes we have utilized? 8 cubes utilized to enclose this charge. So through these 8 cubes, according to Gauss theorem, what is the net flux? It will be phi is equals to q by epsilon naught. Okay. So net flux through 1 cube will be how much? There were how many cubes were there? 8. So through 8 cubes, if it is q by epsilon naught, then through 1 cube it will be q by 8 epsilon naught. Okay. This is the answer of third question. I think you got it. Okay. We have studied 3 applications of Gauss law. No? In the third application, we came to know that whenever there is a conducting sphere or any conductor, okay, any conducting body is there, if it is hollow from the inside, okay, suppose it is like this, it is hollow from inside, okay, it is sphere, spherical cell we can say, okay, then in the cavity what we find? Electric field is how much? 0. Even it is charged, then also the electric field inside the cavity is 0. Okay. You might be thinking it is positively charged. Oh, no problem. It can be negatively charged also. Okay. It can negatively charged also. Then also what you will find? In the cavity the electric field is 0. Okay. Not only this, if you have got a solid sphere, suppose. Suppose you have got solid metallic body. Then inside this body, okay, anywhere inside this, okay, if you take any point over, suppose this is taking point P, at this point you will find that electric field is 0. Okay. So that means in a conductor, electric field is always 0. On the surface, you will find the electric field always, we have found out, okay, but inside it is 0. Why? Because all the charges resides on the surface of the solid body or any conducting body, okay. Why? I have already told you, due to repulsion, okay. They try to maintain the maximum distance, that's why they come out and reside on the surface, okay. So this is the one very important concept which will help you to solve the questions. Okay. Now, okay. See, another question we can discuss over here. Okay, on the basis of Gauss law and their application, its applications. See, there are two plane sheets. Okay, having charge density plus sigma and plus sigma. Similar charges are there, positive. Okay, both are positive, and charge density is sigma. Charge density is same. Now here a charge q is placed. Okay, and separation between these plates is how much? D. Now question is that how much force will be acting on this charge? Now in order to find the force, we know very well that no electric field is what? It is F upon Q. So F is equals to how much? That is Q into E. So if we can find out the electric field intensity at this point, we can find out the force. In order to find the electric field intensity, what we have to do? Electric field intensity due to a infinite charge sheet already we have found out using Gauss theorem. So due to this sheet, electric field intensity here will be, first we have to find out the direction, then we can write the magnitude. So here if you are placing 1 coulomb positive charge, so this sheet is going to repel it. So direction of electric field due to this, suppose this sheet I am going to name it A and this sheet is B. So due to this electric field intensity will be in this direction EA. Okay. Now again you place a unit positive charge over here. What this plate will do to this unit positive charge? It will also repel. In which direction? In this direction. So electric field intensity due to this plate B will be in this direction. So both are in the opposite direction. Now what is the value of EA according to application of Gauss law? It is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Okay. Now what is the magnitude for electric field due to B? It is again sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Okay. What is the net field at any point between the plates? Because see, no distance is there. So net electric field is how much? See, anyone you have to take positive. Suppose this is along positive x-axis, so I'm going to take it positive. If once I'm taking this positive, this has to be taken negative because of opposite direction. Okay, so we can write EA minus EB. So what we'll get? Sigma by 2 epsilon naught minus sigma by 2 epsilon naught. What is there? 0. So electric field is how much? 0 over here. When electric field is 0, what about the force? You will get from here. Force will be 0 into Q, and that is 0. So no force will be acting on that charge which is placed between the plates. Okay. Another question, see. There are two plane sheets. This has got surface charge density plus sigma. This has got minus sigma. Okay. And a charge Q is placed over here. Again, this type the question is that how much force is going to act on this charge Q. So what we have to do first? We know the formula we are going to use, that is force is equals to charge into electric field intensity. So we have to find out net electric field intensity. In order to find the net electric field intensity, what we have to do? We have to find the direction of electric field intensity due to both the plates. So due to this, suppose you are going to place a unit positive charge. This plate will apply force on this unit positive charge. In which direction? Away from it, obviously, because similar charges repel. So its electric field intensity will be directed in this direction. Okay. Now turn for plate B. This plate will attract this charge or repel? Obviously attract. Attract means it will apply force on this charge towards itself. That means which direction? This direction. So this is the direction for EB. What you can see, both are directed along the same direction. And very well we know that when two vectors are directed along same direction, then what happens? They can be added simply. Okay. Now what is EA? According to application of Gauss law, we have come to know that it is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Now what is EB? Sigma by, it is also 2 epsilon naught. Sign we don't consider in the field, and force. In vector quantities, we don't use the sign in magnitude, okay? Because sign is used to discuss the direction, okay? But in potential, when we'll study, you will come to know that in scalar quantities, we use the sign, okay? Because they don't have direction. Now here, from here, what we can write, net electric field is EA plus EV. So what we can write, sigma by 2 epsilon naught plus sigma by 2 epsilon naught is 2 sigma by 2 epsilon naught. 2 cancels out, you will have sigma by epsilon naught. This is the electric field anywhere, at any point between these plates, okay? At any point, because see, no distance is there, okay? So what is the force using this formula? Force is equals to Q into E. That is equals to Q into sigma by epsilon naught. That is the answer. I think you have understood. Okay. Our next topic is torque on an electric dipole placed in an electric field. Okay. So electric dipole is there which is placed in an electric field. Now electric field can be of two types. One is uniform electric field, another is non-uniform electric field. Okay. So we will discuss the non-uniform electric field later on. First we are going to discuss the uniform electric field. Now see how we can represent the uniform electric field with the help of electric field lines. See, it can be represented by parallel lines which are equispaced. Okay. There's parallel lines which are equispaced. Suppose this is representing uniform electric field intensity E. Okay. And a dipole is placed like this. This is the negative charge of the dipole. This is the positive charge of the dipole. Okay. Now what will happen? What is the length? We always take length is as 2a. This length is how much? 2a. Okay. So what will happen? What forces will be acting on it? See, the force that acts on it is F is equals to QE. Okay. So this charge is positive, so force will be acting along the direction of this. That is, let it be F1. F1 is equals to how much? QE. Okay. Now let this force will be F2. Why I am drawing in this direction? You know very well, because F is equals to minus QE. That means, minus means the direction will be opposite. Okay. So force acting on negative charge will be in this direction, positive charge on that direction. Why? Because you know that electric field lines always travel from positive charge to negative charge. Okay. When the field is in this way, that means somewhere you have got the area of positive charges like this, which is not visible to us. And here you have got area of negative charges. Okay. And that's why this field has been produced. Now you tell me, positive charge will be attracted by the positive charge or negative charge? Obviously negative charge, so it will feel a force in that direction. Okay. And negative charge will be attracted towards negative charge or positive charge? Obviously positive charge. So it will feel a force in this direction. Got it? Now I'm going to rub this because this is not required. We draw only those things which is required, okay, always in the examination also. So what is the magnitude of the forces? It is QE only. Both are having equal magnitude, okay, but direction is opposite. So what is the net force? That is equals to F1 plus F2, and that is equals to F1 is QE minus QE. What will get? 0. So net force acting is how much? 0. When net force is 0, then will the body will move? Will it perform any translational motion? No, it is in translational equilibrium. Okay, but we have to check one more thing, that is rotational equilibrium, because in class 11th we have studied that a body can be in equilibrium only when its net force is 0, then it is in translational equilibrium, and when it is net torque is 0, then it is in rotational equilibrium. Okay, okay, so when both the conditions are together, then body is in complete equilibrium. Okay, so now it is in translational equilibrium, that has been proved, but now we have to check about the rotational part. For that, what we have to see, equal forces are acting in opposite direction, and we know that when equal forces act in opposite direction, okay, and as well their line of action is not same, okay, then what happens? They produce torque, or they constitute, they are called couple and due to that couple, what happens? A torque is produced. So we have to find out that torque. Okay. Now torque acting on this we can see these two forces are equal. Now what is the direction, line of action of this force? This is the line of action of this force. What is the line of action of this force? This is the line of action of this force. Okay. Suppose this angle it is making with the electric field is theta. Then this angle is also theta, because you can see this line is parallel to this line. So this is theta. When this is theta, then what is the perpendicular distance between these two forces? This is the perpendicular distance between their line of actions. This is the line of action of F2. Okay. This is the line of action of F1. Okay. And between these two lines, what is the perpendicular distance? This one. So we have to find out this. See this triangle, right angle triangle. It is right angle over here. Okay. Now, in this triangle, this is hypotenuse, that is 2a. This angle is theta. So obviously this is going to be 2a cos theta. What about this? It will be 2a sin theta. By trigonometry, you know very well, it will be 2a sin theta. Okay. Now once you get that 2a sin theta, that is distance between the two forces, you can find out the torque. Torque is equals to force, or we can write either of the forces into perpendicular distance. That's what we write. So forces is how much? That is QE you can write, because we are taking only magnitude, into the perpendicular distance is how much? 2a sin theta. Okay. So now can we rearrange this like 2aqe sin theta? That is tau. Can we write it like this? Now what is this 2aq? Can you write it as a electric dipole moment P? Obviously. So what we can write here? P E sin theta. Now tell me, P is a vector quantity? Yes. Electric field? Yes. So between two vector quantities, only two types of products are possible, dot and cross. But if you are taking dot, you must get a result as scalar. But here it is torque. Torque is a scalar quantity? No way, it is vector quantity. So as it is vector quantity, so what is the possibility of multiplication between P and E? It should be a cross product. Only then we can get the result as vector. Okay. And one more, this is the one, that means we can say one evidence is there which is indicating the cross product should be there. Second evidence is that tangents of sin theta, because we know that A cross B is what? AB sin theta. So it is written in that form, AB sin theta. So that means we can write it A cross B. So tau is what? Tau is P cross E. Okay. This is in the vector form, this is in the scalar form. In this way we got the expression for torque acting on an electric dipole placed in an electric field. Uniform electric field rather. Okay. Clear? Okay. Now the second one, when that electric dipole is placed in a non-uniform electric field. Now how to draw a non-uniform electric field? See, wherever the density of field lines is more, their electric field is strong, and wherever the density of field lines is less, their electric field is weak. So what we can draw? Can we draw it like this? See, here the electric field is strong, here the electric field is weak. Okay. Now, what will happen? We are going to keep a dipole like this. This is negative charge, this is positive charge. The distance is 2a from end to end. Okay. Now what will happen? The force acting on this will be in this direction. Suppose here the electric field intensity is E1, and here the electric field intensity is E2. Okay. So what will happen? Here force acting will be how much? Let it be F1 is equals to QE1. What force acting here? It will be, let F2 is equals to QE2. Rather we can put here minus also. Okay. Now see what will happen. The two forces are acting. They are acting in opposite direction. So what is the net force acting on this? Net force will be that is equals to F1 plus F2. Okay, we can put the values. What will get? Q E1 minus Q E2. Now from here we can get Q common. What will get? E1 minus E2. Okay, this is the net force acting on this dipole. Is this net force 0? Not at all, because here as we move towards that, the electric field is stronger. We know that E1 is greater than E2. As E1 is greater than E2, so what will happen? We will get some positive value. So some net force will be acting along the direction of E1, that is in that direction. And due to this net force acting on the dipole, dipole will have a translational motion. Along E1. So dipole have a translational motion along direction of E1, in that direction. Okay. So due to the net force, it will have translational motion along the direction of E1. First part. So it is not in translational equilibrium. Net force acting on it. That's why it is going to translate in that direction. First thing. Second thing. What about the rotational part? Let's see. I'm going to rub this. Okay. When opposite forces are acting, no. So what will happen? Sorry, not equal. Opposite forces are acting. So obviously there will be torque. Okay. But in this case, how to find the torque? See, for this, what we have to do? We have to divide it into two parts. Okay. See, you can do one thing. From the center you can draw a line, and this distance you can take, and you can take this distance. Okay. See, if the center of this is the center of the dipole, then what will happen? These two distances will be equal, because these two angles are equal. So if this is A, this is suppose A, then this is how much? A sin theta. If this is theta, this is A, this is A sin theta. Okay, this is also A. Okay, and now if you are going to draw a perpendicular over here, this is theta, because this is theta, so this is also theta, and this is A, this length is A. So this is going to be how much? This is going to be again A sin theta. I will redraw it again, okay, so that it will be clear for you. See, the field is non-uniform like this, okay, and your dipole is like this. So here is the negative charge, here is the positive charge, okay, and we are going to see this is the line of action of this force. This is line of action of this force. So F1, this is F2. Okay. Now what will happen? We are going to, from center, we are going to take this distance, and we are going to take this distance. Okay. Now what will happen? Suppose this angle is theta. This distance is equals to this distance. Okay. If this is theta, then this is also theta. This distance we can take, instead of this we can take this distance. Okay. What is this length? Half means A. From here to here, what is this? A. If this is A and this is theta, this is A sin theta. If this is A and this is theta, then this is A sin theta. Okay. So what we can write? We can get the torque. Tau is equals to F1 A sin theta plus F2 A sin theta. Okay. That's what we'll get. Now see here. What is F1? F1 we know that it is QE1 A sin theta plus we will get, what is F2? It is QE2 A sin theta. Okay. So due to this we will get a torque. Okay. So this is QE2 A sin theta. Now A sin theta, see, QA sin theta, QA we can take common, okay? So QA we can take common, and sin theta also we can take common. What is left? It is left E1 plus E2. Okay. Now what will happen? QA. We know that P is equals to 2QA, but it is only QA. So what we can write? Can we write this? P by 2 sin theta E1 plus E2. That is the torque acting on this dipole. That means net force is also acting, due to which it is translating, and torque is also acting, due to which it is rotating. So it is going to translate in that direction, that is from the region of weaker electric field intensity to the region of stronger electric field intensity. It is going to translate as well as rotate. So how it will do? See, it is going to have two-fold motion. Just see. This is support dipole. Here it is the negative charge. I can mark for you. Okay, negative charge and positive charge. I will mark negative charge minus Q, and here I can mark plus Q. I think you can see this minus Q, and this is plus Q. Okay, this is the dipole. Now see, it is there in the field. So what will happen? It will not only translate but rotate also. How it will rotate? See, force is acting like this. Okay, so it will keep on rotating like this and keep on advancing also. Got it? Okay, that's all. Now, already we have discussed about the torque acting in case of dipole placed in an uniform electric field. No? In an uniform electric field, okay, we are talking. So, what we got the expression for torque? It is Te sin theta. Now, when we can say this torque is maximum? Obviously, when theta is sin theta is maximum. When sin theta is maximum? When this is the direction of electric field and this is the direction of dipole moment. Dipole moment is directed from negative charge to positive charge. So P is directed in this direction and electric field is directed along this direction. So angle is 90 degree. So for theta is equals to 90 degree, tau is maximum, and that is how much? PE, because sin 90 is how much? 1. So this is the maximum value. Now when you can say this P is minimum? Obviously, when this is the direction of electric field intensity and this is the direction of dipole moment also. This is negative charge and this is positive charge. Both are aligned. See, this is the direction of P. Then what will happen? Theta is equals to 0. And so what you will get? For theta is equal to 0, tau is minimum. And that is how much? PE sin 0. Sin 0 is how much? It is 0. Okay. So you can get the minimum torque and maximum torque in this way. Okay. Okay students, that's all for this video. In the next video, you will get the solution, NCERT solutions. Okay. I think the syllabus is over. Okay. If some topic is left, let me know through the comments. Then take care. Have a nice day.